Hour two of FST. By the way, you can catch George and I Labor Day Monday for our fantasy football spectacular show at noon Eastern and a lot of other times appearing streaming on SportsGrid. So a double dose of fantasy football on your Labor Day as well. Now let's get to some potential flex options. George and I have covered every position this fantasy football draft season, but how about some players that maybe were right outside the tiers that you can throw in on a weekly basis, just not as a starter, as a flex option? We'll start off, George, with your guys, the Dallas Cowboys, who, by the way, also made a signing this week, bringing in Dalvin Cook. But that's not the one we're going to talk about here. It's Rico Dowdle. And what was interesting was the coach commentary basically saying, I mean, at least to me, it felt like the signing of Cook, I don't know if it's going to work, but it felt like Dowdle took a hit from that. And it felt like the coaches told us that Dowdle's fantasy value took a little bit of a hit from that. We thought that he'd get a ton of playing time right next to Ezekiel Elliott. I don't know that I'm as confident anymore. How about you?
It would be tough to be as confident. I do have Dowdle in a deeper league. I've had him for years. Actually, it's a much deeper league here. We knew Zeke was going to be the goal line guy, right? That's his main thing
Right.
there, right? He is good at short yards. So that's already going to take away touchdowns. And we thought Dowdle, okay, maybe between the 20s, catch some balls, that sort of thing. And now you had Dalvin Cook. I guess the good news is Cook was put on the practice squad, not the 53. So
Right.
there's some good news there for Dowdle. And also keep in mind, McCarthy did say they were going to take him off some special teams work. That's also good news. They want to keep him healthy for running back. So you can read it that way as well. But as soon as I sign Dalvin Cook, if he has anything left, he's going to take that job, right? He's going to get most of those carries. It's the way the Cowboys run, right? They run on their, name players. And Dalvin Cook's a name player. Rico Dowdle is not. He sort of has to prove himself all over again that he's better than Cook too. So, yes, I would be worried about this if I have Dowdle. I said in that deeper league, I thought I could start Dowdle. Certainly not doing it week one against Cleveland. It's a good defense anyway. We'll
Yeah.
see next week against New Orleans.
Yeah. I actually on the waivers picked up Cook. I mean, I felt like I had nothing to lose. I threw a couple bucks
Agreed.
out there. Truthfully, is Dalvin Cook finished? I don't know. Like based on the Jets last year, I'm not willing to make that assessment. They didn't have a quarterback for the entire year, so for me, maybe it is a Le'Veon Bell to the Jets situation. But I'm going to at least take a flyer on Cook and just stash him. Now it's too late to do that with Blake Corum, who was so good in college. I mean, Blake Corum, an all-time performer, and now he is all of a sudden just rising up draft boards because people have realized that Kyron Williams kind of came out of nowhere last year and may even return punts, according to what the coaching staff said. ADP is the 40th running back overall, and the projected fantasy points is 100. I mean, George, you could double that if this guy gets the playing time we think he could potentially get. Too late to call him a sleeper anymore. I'm seeing drafts where all of a sudden he's way inside the top 15 rounds in fantasy football. So you're going to have to pay up now, I believe, for him this weekend and next week.
Yeah, I said I got Kyron Williams in one league, and I really wish I did want to, even back then, I wanted to take Blake Corum, but I didn't. He went, I think, right before me. I wouldn't call it a snipe, but he went. Now I think it's almost a must. If you got Kyron Williams, you take him around, whatever, round 3. You better be willing to take Corum in round 7, round 8. Yeah, he's flying up boards here. This news for a loop here that he was going to return punts. I mean, Craig, when was the last time we saw this? I think it was you said Reggie Bush. Right? That's the last time we saw a running back who does this sort of thing. I mean, this is a worry here if you have Kyron Williams because he's certainly not going to play a full complement of snaps. He's not. And you know what I find even weirder? He has an injury history. Well, returning punts isn't going to help that.
Yeah.
All right, so he get hurt a lot as well. So a lot of concerns here about Kyron Williams. This is, once again, I put him in the category, Craig, of I don't want him. I do want Corum. I'll take him 5 rounds later and take my chances, but I don't want Kyron Williams anymore.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. We also, I mean, not me, because again, I'm not stupid enough to draft in July, but a big gut punch to maybe the fantasy value of Xavier Worthy. Andy Reid on Friday, George, telling reporters that he wasn't 100% sure that Xavier Worthy was worthy of being the main option in Kansas City right away. This was a little bit of a stunner to hear this. So I don't know. Like, I guess, like, in following camp, I didn't really hear that. In following preseason, I didn't really hear that. But in checking social media on Friday, it sure seemed that some people are a little concerned now that it may take Worthy a few weeks, or at least a couple of weeks, to be ready. Now, maybe it's a complete smokescreen and he's going to catch 10 balls for 150 yards on Thursday night. I don't know. But that's what the coach said. So I know what you're going to say next, George.
No, you don't. Worthy, I would not start him week 1 against Baltimore. I am very worried about rookie wide receivers anyway. I don't care about Andy, and I like Andy Reid a lot. But what coaches say right about now, I don't care one little bit. They're all lying. All right, trying to get that edge here. Yeah, I'm not even going to say. I'm not even going to say what you think I'm going to say.
I thought you were going to say you're lying on the coach.
Never saying it again. Wow. Never saying it again.
Really? Why?
But because you made fun of me, and I'm not going to say.
What do you mean? That's your go? I didn't make fun of you. It's your go-to line.
Nope, not going to say it again. You ruined that line for me. It's not going to happen. When can you tell a coach is lying? When his lips move. That's the line Craig wants me to say.
There you go.
And at this point of time, at this point of the year, it's so true. They're all lying. I'm not saying Andy Reid is, but you said it could be a smokescreen. It could be maybe he's trying to get Worthy's a little too what's the saying here? His britches are too big. Maybe he needs to get his ego checked down. Maybe that's what Reid's doing here. No Marquise Brown. We do know that he's not going to play week 1. All right, he's out. That was made official yesterday on Friday. Rashee Rice not going to get suspended, so he's still going to get more targets. Travis Kelce's still going to get more targets. Pacheco. I mean, everything works well. You're talking 4th option for Worthy on Thursday. I think he'll get some deep shots, Greg. I do. I think they're going to want to get those safeties off the line of scrimmage. They're going to take some shots with Worthy, but to see him being a big fantasy play, not unless he connects on 1 or 2 of those shots. I do love him. Long term, I love Worthy. But week 1, I'm probably not going to go with him.
Let's go to another player, superstar at the University of Alabama, Jameson Williams. You may remember he was suspended for betting on Hideki Irabu of the New York Yankees. No, I'm just kidding. That didn't happen. But he was suspended for sports betting. Sam doesn't even know who Hideki Irabu is. Do you know who Hideki Irabu is, Sam? Do you remember that name? No, he has no idea. I know. But no, Jameson Williams, wasn't he betting on sports?
It was gambling. He was gambling.
Yeah. What are you, Sam? You're trying to ruin the show halfway through. I mean, normally I'm the one that ruins the show. I read like the stuff that's for Sunday's show. I didn't do that today. I love Jameson Williams, George. I'm going to have him on all my teams, man. Like look, he was awesome at Alabama, and he's been derailed by different things, injuries, and also by sports betting. He's going to be a star, I think. I think he and Amon-Ra St. Brown 1-2 combo, fantastic this year.
I have no argument. I am right there with you. All right. I think he's going to be that guy because I think Laporta clears out over the middle. St. Brown is your number 1 wide receiver, and that leaves one-on-one coverage for Williams, and no one's sticking with that man. He is fast, and he is good. Well, he's not just a one-trick pony, so I am right here with you. I think he's a guy I'm trying to target in a lot of leagues. I want this guy. Second target on Detroit, absolutely. No Josh Reynolds either, right? He's gone. So there are balls to go around here, and we joke, when in doubt, take someone on Detroit, right? Take someone on Detroit, high scoring offense. Love Jameson Williams.
Yeah, I honestly think that people have forgotten how good he was and Jalen Waddle was, and also there was a receiver. Maybe at this point people forgot about him. He had a very serious injury named John Mechie. I forget if he's even on a team anymore, but John Mechie was really good at Alabama. The 3 of them played together, and Jameson Williams was just as good as Jalen Waddle. So I really feel like he is on the verge of a big breakout. Josh Palmer, I know, in the CFL. Thank you, Sam. We got that one. Josh Palmer is a player I know you like, George. I'm not as high on the Chargers receivers. I mean, I don't think you're actually high on them either, but he's the guy that you think is the guy there.
Because you can get him late. You can get him around 14, 15. Someone's got to catch balls there. So I'm not high on him. I don't want to spend a top pick, but you can get him so late here. I think the value is there.
All right. Speaking of the Chargers, we'll hit on their quarterback coming up next. You're watching Fantasy Sports Today.
Sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. with 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Carlos Alcaraz has won the last 2 Grand Slam titles at the French Open on the clay and at Wimbledon earlier this summer. He enters as the favorite.
You have a bunch of depth there. Francis Tiafoe, Ben Shelton, they will likely play in round 3. The winner would play Djokovic most likely, which would be an incredible match. I like Ben Shelton as a sleeper. If Djokovic is hurt, you never know. I think Shelton's actually the guy that gets hot. The conditions favor him.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
When you're really, really amazing like this, people kind of take it for granted. Same with Ohtani, right? People will sort of see, oh, Ohtani did this, Ohtani did that, and it sort of, becomes normalized a little bit. But to put in context, Aaron Judge joins the 1,000 hit club, reaches, gets it done. So earlier this month, he was the fastest player to reach 300 home runs ever.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
The leftover language would be the million shy of what Jefferson makes Jefferson a better player. If you want to believe that, I'm not sure I buy that he's that much better than CeeDee Lamb.
Tony Pollard's gone. He's now with the Titans. I was with the Titans a couple weeks ago. He'll be their starting running back there. They're going a different direction in Dallas, but it's all about CeeDee Lamb right now, the first of the other deals that they have to get done.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Really love the idea of the super flex leagues with 2 quarterbacks. More and more, I think we're headed there. I mean, these are the most important players in all of sports. Why are we not playing 2 of them in fantasy football? I'm on board with that. So we're going to dive into some potential names that you can use in that super flex option. Maybe these are just outside the top 12 or maybe even beyond. And, George, it's sort of crazy for me to think that we're here with Justin Herbert, that he's a super flex option when, if we're doing shows 2 seasons ago, he is the 4th or 5th best fantasy football quarterback off the board, and you may say I wouldn't be surprised if he's number 1. I mean, that's how good Justin Herbert we thought he was going to be, but he's had different issues with his receivers. There's no doubt about that. The coaching staff, a lot of people were very critical of him too. Brandon Staley, I believe, was the former quarterback coach there, and of course head coach. Now Jim Harbaugh is there, but there are no weapons. And so I don't know how to look at Justin Herbert. I still think he's got one of the best arms in the NFL. And he probably, as they say, can make the best throws of any quarterback in the NFL, 60, 70 yards deep to just anyone. But they drafted Quentin Johnson. Didn't work out, at least thus far, still early. And you look at their roster, and Jim Harbaugh's kind of like, all right, well, let's just go with what we got. They really didn't get anyone. So I got to say, I don't really love him as a super flex option.
Love, I dislike. I don't want him. It's really that simple here. This is nothing against Herbert. Everything you said is true, right? NFL quarterback, he can quarterback the Dallas Cowboys anytime. Anytime. Fantasy quarterback, where's your upside? I mean, we all know what Harbaugh wants to do. He wants to play 21-17, 24-21 games, fourth quarter, see if we don't make a mistake and we can pull it out here. He's trying to build a game in the trenches. Boring football is what he wants to play here. He's rebuilding a team in his image, or the kind of team he likes there. It's going to take a couple of years. There's not much offensive talent here. I kind of like Ladd McConkey, and I mentioned I do like Josh Palmer, but these are late additions here. Guys who are looking for value here. This team's not going to score a lot of points here. Superflex, there are a lot of quarterbacks, a lot. And as much as I love Herbert NFL-wise, I don't want him fantasy-wise. Nope, I'm not taking him.
Yeah, me either. So now the next one is probably your least favorite quarterback to take, and at Superflex, and that is Deshaun Watson, who, I'm trying to make a case for like super late in the draft and just say you never know. Another player, it's kind of crazy. Again, 2 years ago, Watson not playing for Houston, sitting out that whole year. Is he going to go to Miami? Remember all that? And has just looked so bad with Cleveland. And look, when you hear rumors about players, and we've seen a lot on social media this week that Watson like doesn't like looking over his shoulder at a backup quarterback. I think you have to take those, George, with a grain of salt. I do. I think it's not fair. But sometimes when there's smoke, there's fire. And maybe even if it's not 100% true, maybe it's 50% true. And that's just a bad look for him if that's the case. So what round would you even consider taking Deshaun Watson? And how many, I mean, would you take him as the 22nd or 23rd quarterback in a super flex league? Is like that even fair at this point?
I'm looking at a list here. 22nd is Geno Smith. 23rd is Baker Mayfield. Would take both of them easily over Deshaun Watson. I think Geno Smith is highly underrated, by the way. Highly underrated. Baker Mayfield is, good wide receivers. Evans, Godwin. 24 is Will Levis, Daniel Jones. I would probably take Watson over Levis. Daniel Jones, with the running ability, I'd probably take a shot at that. I'm looking at that point here. Yeah. I had a draft list. I really didn't have a draft. A buddy of mine, somebody used to work on the Fantasy Sports Network with me. He needed a 12th person, but I told him I couldn't make the draft. So he said, listen, will you at least set your roster if I put you on auto draft? Told him yes. Why not? It's a super flex league. Guess what quarterbacks I ended up with?
No way.
Deshaun Watson and Geno Smith. How that happens? I mean, what is the auto draft doing here? Just saying, I'm going to just punt quarterback? Thanks, buddy. So that's
the super flex.
That's all right. Oh, my third quarterback is Justin Fields. I'm saved. So I didn't look at the draft. I want to know who the auto draft. I like Fields too. Eventually, I want to know who the auto draft passed up on. Oh, what round did they go for quarterback? 10, 12? I mean, a little annoyed about it. But as I say, it's a non-money league, so I don't care. I told him just don't put my name on it. I will set the lineup down. I'll give it a shot. But I think if Deshaun Watson, NFL-wise, if he 80% of what Deshaun Watson used to be in Houston, Cleveland's a dangerous, dangerous team. I just don't know he is that. And not even 80%, Greg.
I don't know.
Something just seems to be wrong here, right? He's still got the sore shoulder that he's complaining about here. Does he want to play football? I just he got the guaranteed money, which is, I guess, I'm thinking the worst contract in sports history. At least certainly one of them here.
Not yet.
Oh, not yet. Oh, man, that's guaranteed money. Guaranteed money they can't get out of.
I don't know, man.
200 and something million.
Gotta let it. I mean, Russell Wilson got something, a lot too. I think that there's a way out of some of that stuff always with these quarterbacks. But
Watson. Watson is pure guaranteed. Can't get out.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
No, but I'll give you that. We're not there yet.
I share a similar sentiment, but not the same. I think that's fair.
Bottom line is, I don't want him.
I understand. You made your point clear. Got to move on. Kirk Cousins, he only had 18 touchdown passes last year. So when you see the graphic, understand that he missed a lot of time. He's with the Falcons now, for those of you living under the non-fantasy rock. Michael Penix Jr. was drafted. So Cousins you can't see it in that picture there, but he's looking like this. He's not looking over his shoulder directly, but he's got to look over his shoulder. I don't know what Atlanta was doing here. I do like Kirk Cousins as a super flex option. I do. But I don't love the fact that he's like, what would you say, George? He's like a closer in baseball. If he blows 2 games in a row, that third game, you're kind of be like, all right, they're going to bring in Penix, right? I hate that.
I agree with everything you said. I like him. I think he'll have a good year. I wouldn't mind having him as my quarterback too. But I think it's a perfect analogy. If he has a bad game or two, we all know rookie quarterbacks tend to play. They tend to play. You got to get those Blues out here. That being said, I think he'll be okay this year. I'm still willing to roll the dice. But if it's Cousins or someone else I have ranked close to him, I'm going with the other guy that I don't have to worry about.
All right, let's close it out. Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford,
yes.
Jared Goff. Those 3.
Yes. Out of those 3, the one I want most is Goff. We love the offense. You look at the numbers he put up last year. How can you not like Goff?
You're so good. I'm not taking Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I don't dislike him or anything. Like I know a lot of people do. I don't know, man. Guy missed a whole year last year. I just can't do it.
I love his saying. I don't want to. No, as he told the team, no distractions this year. First thing he does, not show up to mandatory minicamp, and then we find out he's going to be on the Pat McAfee show. But yeah, no distractions.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The leftover language would be the million shy of what Jefferson makes Jefferson a better player. If you want to believe that, I'm not sure I buy that he's that much better than CeeDee Lamb.
Tony Pollard's gone. He's now with the Titans. I was with the Titans a couple weeks ago. He'll be their starting running back there. They're going a different direction in Dallas, but it's all about CeeDee Lamb right now, the first of the other deals that they have to get done.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
When you're really, really amazing like this, people kind of take it for granted. Same with Ohtani, right? People will sort of see, oh, Ohtani did this, Ohtani did that, and it sort of, becomes normalized a little bit. But to put in context, Aaron Judge joins the 1,000 hit club, reaches, gets it done. So earlier this month, he was the fastest player to reach 300 home runs ever.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
The only streaming sports betting network. Tips, info, and insights to up your IQ. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
New to the Live Golf Plus app. Watch Live Golf any way you want it. Follow any group. Replay any shot. Anytime, anywhere. Any questions? Watch Live Golf live and on demand.
We've reached the pinnacle of fantasy sports today. It's time for us to take a look at kickers in fantasy football. Now, George, do you play in I play in one league where we still use kickers. How many leagues do you play in where you use kickers?
Unfortunately, I think 9 for 9. Oh, no, 8 for 9. One league doesn't.
8 for 9.
But I think all the others do. But I'm with you. Get rid of them.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't mind it, actually. It's actually okay. But I feel like the first person to take a kicker in fantasy football is somebody that feels like, man, I had a really bad draft. Let me make sure I get the best kicker. The way I've always looked at it that way. Like, oh, I did so bad, so let me take Justin Tucker. So Justin Tucker is, one of the few players that's like a guaranteed Hall of Famer that you could talk about on a show. Like he doesn't have to make another kick, and he's going right to the Hall of Fame. So that's cool for him. Still the number one kicker in fantasy. Brandon Aubrey, who was so good with the Cowboys last year, he's back once again. And then, Harrison Butker, he's okay. He's all right. He's fine, but he's playing on the Chiefs. So like that's a product of that. I very much would rather have Tucker and Aubrey than Butker.
Generally, when I look for kickers, if we're going to talk strategy here, I'm not taking any till round 15, round 16. All right, I'm not taking the kicker early. But I like kickers who kick indoors, especially if you get any kind of bonus points for 50-plus yard field goals, right? Aubrey, forget this guy kicks. What do you kick, a 65-yarder in our preseason? This guy's got a bomb here. So I'd rather have Aubrey. How about Fairbairn? Tucker's a different category. He's just God. These guys I kind of like there. Maybe Young Ho Koo in Atlanta, somebody you can look at. I want indoor kickers because I want those bonus points here. But like I said, you're just taking the best guy available. I don't put a lot of thought into this, but the dome guys I do like more, assuming your league awards bonus points for 50-plus yard field goals.
Yeah. I do like a couple of kickers very late. I'll talk about them later. But first, let's get to the tier 2 kickers. So you mentioned Fairbairn, who is playing on a great offense in Houston, so no surprise there. Jason Sanders with Miami. Jake Elliott is super reliable on Philadelphia, so that's why he shows up. Moody plays in a great offense. That's why he's there. Koo, another very reliable option. Tyler Bass is going a lot lower than he has in the past just because, there's some notion that maybe Buffalo is not as good. And the same could be said for Evan McPherson, who was so good in year 1, and then, their offense wasn't as good in year 2. And so naturally you're seeing him drop in year 3. Really doesn't make any sense because Joe Burrow is back. But again, it can take it or leave it with many of these guys. I'm just not someone that's ever going to invest a high pick here.
Agreed. I don't mind having McPherson. We put Jake Moody up here too, right? San Francisco kicker. They should score some points. Do you believe in the Jets? You seem to have your doubts at Rodgers. So do I, by the way. But Greg Zuerlein could be an option here. If we maybe Santos, I mean, we're going down here, probably past tier 2. Santos with Chicago could be an option. Jason Sanders, your boy in Miami, right? Certainly. We expect the Dolphins to score some points there, so we like him. Nicer weather, too, so I'm good with that. Bates in Detroit. I understand when we get down here, we just talked about quarterbacks. Cousins could lose his job for a bad game or two. If kickers have a bad game or two,
forget
bye. Next.
Tier 3, and then I'm going to give you the kicker that I like. He's not even on this list. So Matt Gay, Cameron Dicker, Cairo Santos, Jason Myers, Dustin Hopkins. These are all the bottom of the barrel. The guy that I like, and I know it's the weather situation, so that's why maybe you would think twice, but Anders Carlson, I mean, George, that guy is really good on Green Bay. He won a lot of games for them last year. And, I guess people are just, thrown off. Look, your point is fair. The Packers late in the season, not going to play in great weather. But this guy is, I saw him in the preseason too, kicking like crazy kicks. He's really, really good.
The problem is he's no longer the Green Bay kicker. All right, he was released. So they went with Narveson.
They did. They what?
They released him a while back. They went with right now their kicker is Braden Narveson. So you're probably not going to do too much. I don't think he's picked up with anybody else. Either. So, by the way, if you're going down this far, how many kickers are you starting in your
for
league?
The Packers in the preseason that I was seeing kicking all those kicks?
He got released, I think, at the week 1 or maybe week 2
of the preseason.
Yeah, he was there. He just got released. I'll find out when for you exactly in a second. But why are we going down this far? How many kickers are we starting in this league here? Yeah, Anders Carlson's a free agent, so we're certainly not going to take it. They waived him on August. Oh, they waived him 4 days ago. On the 27th.
My
so
day is ruined. I was following the Marlins the last few days. I wasn't paying attention to Packers kickers being released.
So if you drafted Carlson,
you're gonna have to draft a different kicker than Anders Carlson because he's not on the Packers anymore. So everything that I said, bad.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Carlos Alcaraz has won the last 2 Grand Slam titles at the French Open on the clay and at Wimbledon earlier this summer. He enters as the favorite.
You have a bunch of depth there. Francis Tiafoe, Ben Shelton. They will likely play in round 3. The winner would play Djokovic most likely, which would be an incredible match. I like Ben Shelton as a sleeper. If Djokovic is hurt, you never know. I think Shelton could actually be the guy that gets hot. The conditions favor him.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Welcome back to Fantasy Sports Today here on Sports Grid. Thursday night football is here, folks. Just a few days away. It is the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Opening night football should be a lot of fun, and we'll have a complete coverage, of course, here on Sports Grid. But by the time George and I are here with you next, this game will have gone off. So, George, let's take a look at it and take a look at both teams here. The Baltimore Ravens, of course, back where you know that they belong again, with Lamar Jackson once again on the road trying to win a big game. Chiefs have had good success against the Ravens. We do know that. A very bizarre game for the Ravens in the playoffs, by the way, I would add last year. The big wrinkle for the Ravens is Derrick Henry is now the starting running back. And, you know, speaking of Hall of Famers, that's one. That's actually a future Hall of Famer, Derrick Henry. If he didn't play another down, he'd be in. But beyond that, Zay Flowers, will he take the next step? Will we see anything from Rashad Bateman? I think that's a big name that could potentially go off. George, the guy that I have on my keeper league, not that anybody cares, is Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers was so good last year in fantasy down the stretch. What do you make of the Ravens going into the season, and what do you make of this game? What do they need to do to win on Thursday night?
I think the Ravens are a damn good team. You can make a pretty good argument they're the best team in the AFC. So I expect big things from the Ravens. I do. That division is the division from hell. I think Cincinnati is a good team. Cleveland could be a good team, depending on Deshaun Watson. And Pittsburgh, well, they always manage to win 8-9 games. I don't know how they do it, but they do. A really good division there. But I think Baltimore is the class. I think they might be the best team, like I said, in the AFC. I think it's a great game Thursday night. I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game, Craig. I think it's a game 24-20, 21-17, somewhere around there. So I don't think we're going to get a lot of fantasy gold out of this contest. That being said, I mean, you're starting Lamar Jackson, right? You're starting Derrick Henry. These guys are every week starters. You're starting Mark Andrews. And you probably and Zay Flowers is probably an every week starter as well. He may not be a wide receiver 1, but I don't see him falling anywhere further than wide receiver 3 as far as a weekly basis. You know, so I'm probably starting all those guys. But yeah, I don't expect 1 million points to be scored. So if you're looking for that, it may be an issue here. But Kansas City, it's the same thing. Right? You're starting Mahomes, you're starting Pacheco, you're starting Kelsey. You're probably starting Rashee Rice, and that's as far as I'll go, the top 4 guys. But like I said, Rashee Rice is probably my one question mark here. There's a chance you might have better. You know, because Rashee Rice was a top 50 wide receiver. You might be able to have 3 wide receivers better and a flex on your roster than Rashee Rice. I can see that. And like I said, I like Rashee Rice a lot. And I'm going to like him a lot this season. I just don't see mega points being scored Thursday night in Kansas City. I think it's going to be a very good game, very tight game. So what we saw last year between Detroit and Kansas City on Thursday night, which was it 24-23 was the final, something like that. I expect a similar score to that.
Yeah, I do too. I think it'll be a good game, probably a lower scoring game that people anticipate. Thursday night football is always that way. I'm interested to see Xavier Worthy. Remember, Hollywood Brown, if you missed any of the media reports this week, looks like he is out for week 1 on Thursday night. So Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce among the options for Kansas City in that game. And then we go from Thursday night to Friday night, and they're going to play an NFL game on a Friday night in Brazil. I'm sort of partial to high school football. I can't believe the NFL is opening up on a Friday night against high school football teams. So a lot of the kids are not going to be able to watch this game. Never thought that day would come. Packers, Eagles. This is another really good showdown, I think, George, but I guess we'll see. Packers coming off a great run. This is the story is very easy. The narrative is very easy for this game. Although I don't know what Brazil is going to be like. The air, the weather, the field, I have no clue. But one team on fire at the end of the season going in one direction, one team completely falling apart going in the other direction, and they'll face each other on Friday.
Yeah, they will. And by the way, speaking of the Friday game, I wanted this is at the beginning. You know, the NFL always looking for more money, right? Next revenue stream. They've had games on Friday in the past, mainly on holidays when, the Christmas holiday would fall there, or Christmas Eve, or whatever, New Year's. So they would have games there. But I wanted this is the beginning here. Where next year we're going to see a few more on Friday. You know, the ratings are high. I think it's just going to be the beginning of, the NFL taking over Fridays as well. Money. It's all the NFL cares. As for this game, I mean, there's question marks or things you want to see for both teams, right? Philadelphia did implode last year. 10-1 and just fell apart here. They got rid of both coordinators. So we're going to see how that offense works. No Jason Kelsey. Is the tush push still going to be as effective? I think it will be. You know, does that take away touchdowns from Saquon Barkley? We'll see. You know, Green Bay, all right, Love got paid. He had 8 good games and the playoffs. You know, is he worth that money? Can he make that offense go with all those different receivers there? How is Josh Jacobs going to play there? You know, is he the back he was, you know, for I guess the first half of the season with the Raiders, or the one of the second half where he didn't really do all that much here? There's a lot to look at here. And these are two of the best teams in the NFC, right? As much as we like the Kansas City Baltimore game, because two of the best games in the AFC, the NFL's done us a favor. Two of the best games in the NFC. Should be a great game. We'll see how it works out here. As for who's starting here, I mean, you're starting Love, you're starting Hurts, right? You're starting both quarterbacks there. You're starting Jacobs, you're starting Barkley. You're starting, you're going to start Brown. You're going to start Devonta Smith. You're going to start Dallas Goedert more than likely, although the tight end could be interesting. The wide receivers for Green Bay is where it gets interesting. Watson, Dobbs, Reed, Wicks. Pick your poison here. I'm going to start Watson while he's healthy, and I'm probably starting Dobbs. After that, I'll probably take off.
Yeah, and look, I think for we'll go back to the Packers and let's go to the Eagles here. For the Packers, Anders Carlson will not be kicking. That's the one thing we learned from the show. But Emmanuel Wilson is a name that I believe he made the team. I hope I'm not wrong about that. He will be the backup running back to Josh Jacobs. So again, that's an interesting note. For the Philadelphia Eagles, I think that you said it best, George. I mean, you're looking at a lot of different options, and you wonder how the Eagles are going to use those running backs, especially on the first night. Saquon Barkley, naturally you would think with the amount of money that they paid him to join the Eagles that he would be that guy. But the Eagles have used a lot of quarterbacks through the years. You're just not going to know which direction Sirianni's going to go with those running backs, I think, until about halfway through the season. Remember, last year, Georgia, and even the years past, a lot of different running backs carry the ball for them.
Yeah, but they've never had somebody like Barkley, right? They've never had this guy. So but that's also the curiosity factor, because you're right. They've always split it around 2-3 guys here. Now they have a guy, right? So we'll see how they use that. I think they'll use Barkley. My question is going to be inside, the 5-3 yard line. Are we still doing the brotherly shove and risking Hurts? Because I think what happened, I think Hurts got hurt last year on one of those shoves. I think he got hurt. I think that's what really hurt him in the second half of the season. Well, they're like, you know what? It's not worth it. We've got a real guy in Barkley, right? He can score touchdowns here. I just wonder if they will go in that direction. I think it's very curious to look at, because if you told me right now that Barkley is going to be the guy, they're not going to do a tush push anymore, we're not drafting him early enough. We're just not. That offense is going to cook here. It'll just be a matter of can Barkley stay healthy, something that's been a problem throughout his career.
So let's get two predictions out of the way here. Baltimore at Kansas City, week 1. Are you taking the points? You taking the Chiefs? Who do you like here, George, to begin the season?
I like Baltimore. I like the Ravens. I think it's going to be a close game, right? So I automatically want to take points. I just think Baltimore's going to win this game, so I'm going to take the Ravens over the Chiefs.
All right, and then I'll take the under on Thursday night, because it feels like that's always the right thing to do. Brazil Friday night, like, what to make of this game, George? Like, I have no idea, man. Like, I feel like the conspiracy theorist in me wants to take the over Friday night, because you're not going to go to Brazil and hey, refs, listen, let them play here a little bit. We're trying to make some money here in Brazil. I'm going to take the over on Friday night with these two teams.
Yeah, we're agreeing too much, because I like the under in the Thursday night game as well, and I do like the over Friday night. I don't love it, so it wouldn't be any kind of big bet here, but I will take the over in this game as well, and I think I'm going to take the points also. I think it's a close game. Both teams are really, really good. I don't know if there's a home field advantage. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe Brazil loves the Eagles. I don't know. We'll find out. Although the Packers are generally more of in the U.S., they're the traveling team, right? Packer fans. So I would think they'd have the advantage here. But I'm going to take the Ravens, the Packers, under Thursday, over Friday.
All right, fair enough. We'll take a quick time out here on the show. Time for a little buy or sell coming up next here on this edition of Fantasy Sports Today. Don't forget, coming up on Monday night, Labor Day, we've got some great college football action that we'll be following on all of our shows. We also have a fantasy football show. Noon to 2 Eastern, George and I preview the upcoming fantasy football season. We'll be right back. Mike Tomlin could have very easily put this to rest and say that, Russell Wilson is the starting quarterback.
Mike Tomlin's going to look at, hey, Russell Wilson led that clean drive. I think that separates him enough to give him the starting job. But I think you're right that the leash is going to be pretty short. And if Russell Wilson doesn't look good, Steelers fans pretty quickly are going to be calling for Justin Fields because of his scrambling ability.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The leftover language would be the million shy of what Jefferson makes Jefferson a better player. If you want to believe that, I'm not sure I buy that he's that much better than CeeDee Lamb.
Tony Pollard's gone. He's now with the Titans. I was with the Titans a couple weeks ago. He'll be their starting running back there. They're going a different direction in Dallas, but it's all about CeeDee Lamb right now, the first of the other deals that they have to get done.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
If the U.S. gets to a bad start and they're down or close, I may double down on the second quarter because I know that that's when Steve Kerr is going to want to either A, if it's close, open it up. If they're losing, you got to get the lead because you don't want teams like it was in South Sudan that believe that they can win.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Let's go. Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship. The golf has been mesmerizing. They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes! Are you ready?
Let's go!
That's what champions do.
Welcome back to Fantasy Sports Today here on SportsGrid. George and I are back here with you, and we'll be with you every Saturday morning exclusively here on SportsGrid, talking fantasy football with you, helping you set your lineups and, some daily fantasy talk as well. But before we leave you on today's show, it's time to play a little game of buy or sell. So let's get started here with the tight end position. George and I have been breaking down tight ends all show long. Let's talk about Trey McBride. You remember him from last year? Everybody saying he was going to be a huge sleeper? I don't remember because that didn't happen. So now all of a sudden, Trey McBride has gone from an undrafted tight end in fantasy to a top 10 tight end in fantasy this year. Buy or sell, Trey McBride will finish the season, George, as a top 5 tight end.
All right, we were saying how deep tight end is, right? There's a lot of tight ends out there. Now, I do have him ranked as my 4th tight end, so I expect him to finish top 5. And I think he's got the capabilities of doing it. I think they need Harrison to hit. If Harrison can be that guy, then a lot of wide open room for McBride during the middle here. I'm going to buy this, Craig. I think he is going to finish as a top 5. I think he is that good. And remember, we all love Kelsey, but they're going to manage his snaps. If he would have suffered an injury or two, maybe he's not a top 5. Love Laporta. Andrews has injury history as well here. There's a lot going on here, but we're not asking top 3. We're asking top 5. I'm going to buy this, yes. And from my own home league fantasy team, I really hope this happens here. Buying.
Yeah, I'm going to sell. Look, he was excellent, McBride. He definitely was. But again, I'm more of a regression to the mean, so I think that it was a lot better than what we thought last year. Probably won't be as good this year. I think the point that George makes, though, is fair. It's like you're looking at some of the others above him, and you wonder if they could be in for a little bit of slippage. I think McBride is tight end 7 going into the year. That's where I have him ranked. So just outside that top 5. So I'm going to disagree with George. I'm going to hit that red button, and I'm going to say McBride is just outside the top 5. I'm going to say sell. All right. Last season, the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns that had the most success was Joe Flacco. But the Browns said, you know what? We're going back to Deshaun Watson and that $60 million, and we're going to let Flacco go. Not even as a backup, Joe Flacco. Flacco is gone. He's no longer in Cleveland. They went to Jameis Winston, who, by the way, is pretty good, when he gets in the game. But Njoku's success with Flacco. So will it happen with Watson? Buy or sell? David Njoku is not a tight end one with Watson at quarterback. Buy or sell?
Yeah, I think they didn't want Flacco as the backup there because they didn't want to put any additional pressure on Watson, which I find amazing because of how well Flacco played last year. Wow, Njoku is the tight end that's falling, right? He's falling in rankings. So there is some validation to this. I assume if we're talking a 10-team league, which most leagues are, I can certainly see this. That you'd only need Goddard, Bowers, Schultz. You need two of these guys to get above him, to get him out of the top 10. It's a lot to ask. But I understand where it's coming from here. I know Joe Pisapierre and I talked about this as well, that he doesn't believe in Njoku at all here. But still, to fall out of the top 10, I'm gonna sell. It looks like a red button, by the way, to me. Not it looks like a pink button, not a red button. Maybe my eyes are wrong here. So I'm gonna sell though. I don't think he'll be top 5, but I think he'll be in the 8 to. I guess think he's 8 to 10 range. He'd have to get hurt in my mind, really, not to get top 10. We're not asking for all that much here. Top 10.
That picture. You know who that picture looks like? It doesn't look like Njoku. To me, it looks like Anders Carlson. It has like an Anders Carlson. Are we sure that's not Anders Carlson? I am going to sell. Njoku is good no matter what. I feel like he finally came into who we thought he was going to be for several years. I also saw this kid play at the University of Miami. Not a kid anymore. I am going to sell. I think Watson is in that range of tight end one, definitely within the top 12 tight ends in fantasy football. I am in on that. All right, well, the Dallas Cowboys basically did nothing in the offseason as far as adding a really good running back. They got a potential Hall of Fame running back in Ezekiel Elliott, but Elliott is 2-3 years removed from being an RB1 in fantasy football. And so Rico Dowdle was thought to be potentially the backup to Ezekiel Elliott, the Pollard to Elliott. Remember how that went. But then they added Dalvin Cook this week. Buy or sell, Rico Dowdle will score 8 touchdowns or more this season. Buy or sell?
Oh, come on. No, he's not doing this. Ezekiel's one thing we know Zeke can still do at this point in his career is the short yardage. He'll get the touchdowns.
Are we even sure? Are we even sure of that, though? Are we even sure of that?
His numbers were still good last year. I think he over 90% on the short yard. So yes, it's a year removed. Could he be done? Absolutely. And I didn't listen. I hated the Zeke signing. Everybody knows that. I think it's idiotic. Dallas going backwards here. Jerry Jones actually, I think, lives in the past. Thinks that Zeke is still Zeke here. But Dallas not scoring 8. I don't think Zeke scores 8 either, by the way. Maybe around there. He better because I don't think he has much other value there. But you throw Dalvin Cook in as well, and Cook might be using those situations before Dowdle is. No, this is an easy sell.
Yeah, I'm on the same page here. There's eight or more touchdowns. We just got talking about McBride or I forget what Kincaid with 2, and I'm going to bet on Dowdle with 8. I'm not going to do that. I got sell here also. I think Dalvin Cook may play for the Cowboys. That's what I think. I think Dalvin Cook may play for Dallas this season. All right, Thursday Night Football, MVP, right? 2 MVPs at quarterback, basically, Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. Buy or sell, a non-quarterback will be the biggest story after opening night. So, again, could be anything, but you got to kind of think that one of these quarterbacks is going to get talked about a lot. But I don't know. We'll see. When the biggest story in the NFL after week 1 last year was what? Aaron Rodgers being hurt for the season. Fair?
Oh, absolutely fair, right? That was definitely the biggest story. All right. Baltimore, Kansas City, a certain tight end is dating somebody. Maybe something big happens there with Taylor Swift, right? That wouldn't be the biggest surprise. I could certainly see that. I'll take the field. I'll think the story is going to be something other than Mahomes and Jackson, although I do expect it's going to be one of those two. So I'll buy it, but I don't feel great about it.
Yeah, I am going to sell this. It's a quarterback league. It's all about the quarterbacks, and it's going to be all about the quarterbacks again. I know there's a nice little picture there of Carl Pickens. No, I'm just kidding.
Anders Carlson.
Jamar Chase. I'm going to sell on that. We'll be right back to wrap it up next.
The The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Carlos Alcaraz has won the last two Grand Slam titles at the French Open on the clay and at Wimbledon earlier this summer. He enters as the favorite.
You have a bunch of depth there. Francis Tiafoe, Ben Shelton. They will likely play in round 3. The winner would play Djokovic, most likely, which would be an incredible match. I like Ben Shelton as a sleeper. If Djokovic is hurt, you never know. I think Shelton could actually be the guy that gets hot. The conditions favor him.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
When you're really, really amazing like this, people kind of take it for granted. Same with Ohtani, right? People will sort of see, oh, Ohtani did this, Ohtani did that, and it sort of, becomes normalized a little bit. But to put in context, Aaron Judge joins the 1,000 hit club, reaches, gets it done. So earlier this month, he was the fastest player to reach 300 home runs ever.
Sports Rage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
The leftover language would be the million shy of what Jefferson makes Jefferson a better player. If you want to believe that, I'm not sure I buy that he's that much better than CeeDee Lamb.
Tony Pollard's gone. He's now with the Titans. I was with the Titans a couple weeks ago. He'll be their starting running back there. They're going a different direction in Dallas, but it's all about CeeDee Lamb right now, the first of the other deals that they have to get done.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to Fantasy Sports Today here on SportsGrid. What if I told you that Deshaun Watson is the highest paid quarterback in the NFL this season, and he was making $63 million on the year, George? I mean, what in the world was Cleveland thinking? I guess it's easy for me to say, but even with Deshaun Watson, as good as he was, still feels weird, man, that Cleveland committed so much here. And by the way, there's a really good football team too. Like, imagine if they did have a good Deshaun Watson.
If they had a good Deshaun Watson, this might be the team to beat in the AFC, if not the world of football, right? This team 1-53 is really good, but they don't have the quarterback, right? There's all sorts of question marks about Watson. The sore shoulder, is he that guy? I think it's fair to say that he was never going to be with Deshaun Watson. He was in Houston, not in Cleveland. I mean, you're throwing the ball outdoors in Cleveland, November, December, January. It's not easy, right? The weather is brutal, it's wind, it's cold, and all that. So you couldn't expect him to be that guy. But yeah, he's not. He's nowhere near close to that player. Even when healthy, he hasn't looked all that great there. What I find amazing, you look at the top quarterbacks that have paid there, right? Deshaun Watson, 63.8, really hasn't done anything. Dak can't get past the divisional round, if that. Kyler Murray hasn't done anything in the playoffs. Daniel Jones, nothing. You know, you have to go down to Stafford, who before you really get the top 4 quarterbacks as far as most money per season, haven't done anything. Right, so you're the lower in the list, the guys that have there. The Stafford, Mahomes, of course. How much money could Mahomes theoretically force Kansas City to pay him? Double? 74, 75?
Yeah.
Right, that's nuts. Lamar Jackson, something like that. He hasn't done really anything either in the playoffs there. Josh Allen could ask for more than double. In theory, he could ask for easily more than double. Right? So it's crazy when you think about it. Quarterback is so important. I've said this so many times, Craig. For me, the 2 most important positions in all of sports, quarterback and starting goaltender. If you don't have one, you're not going to win consistently.
Yeah, fair point by George. All right, let's wrap it all up. It's time now for the SportsGrid 60.
All right, this is a huge weekend for fantasy drafts, right? It's the number one weekend really there is. I never understood why, by the way, Craig, because I never drafted this weekend. It's Labor Day weekend. Generally, we have other things we have to do, but that being said, the numbers tell us this is where most drafts happen. Maybe it's the easiest time to get together during a barbecue and go at it. I love fantasy drafts. I always have. Like I said, for me, it's Christmas time for adults. You know, I get to open up my gifts and see what I have. Or maybe I got coal and I drafted terribly. But generally, you know, a draft, to me, a draft doesn't win it for you, doesn't lose it for you. It's the moves you make during the season and staying healthy. You know, you got to stay healthy. It's the most important thing. It's something we can't control, which is why during a draft, we're all going to take players that get hurt, all right, that have an injury history. The key for me is, though, I make marks. Okay, this guy, I'll highlight him because I don't want 3 or 4 of these guys. I draft 3 or 4 of these guys and they all get hurt. I have no one to blame but me. Okay, yep. I always believe in a 12-team league. 3 teams are going to be eliminated because they just don't pay attention, right? They don't make, there's not there. 3 other teams will be eliminated because of injuries. So it means if I can stay away from the injuries, I only got to battle with 6 teams for a money spot or a top overall prize. Just something I believe that it usually pays off in home leagues here. Just have to avoid the injuries. So make sure of that. Just because you love a player, you get 3 or 4 of those guys, you're going to be regretting it in a month from now.
Yeah, and George is right. I think they said on the ESPN leagues that over 80% of people who draft in fantasy football are drafting starting now through next week. I mean, think about this entire fantasy football draft season, and more than 3/4 of the people who are going to play this season are drafting starting now. So that tells you that. And George also brought up a good point that I'll end on too, is that so many things have happened over the last week that you better do a reset before you draft. Like, who is Emmanuel Wilson on Green Bay? Who is Blake Corum on the Los Angeles Rams? I mean, these are things that can win or lose you a fantasy league in the end, not knowing who these players are, especially the backup running backs. That you may say, Craig, well, look, I'm not going to draft this guy until the end anyway. Yes, at the end anyway, as opposed to after week 1, where you're trying to, on a waiver system, pick them up or using a budget of money, and you can't. Do it now. And then if it doesn't work out, just cut the guy. Stash those backup running backs at the end of your fantasy football draft going into the season next Thursday. That'll do it for the show. George, have a great Labor Day weekend. We'll see you again next week.
Absolutely. Like I said, if you're drafting this weekend, which I guess most of you are, good luck. Have a good time. And remember, first round won't win it for you, but it could lose it for you.
Yeah, well, thanks for that, George. All right, that'll do it for the show. Great note to leave you on there. Doom and gloom, George. Thanks to our producer, Sam. I'm Craig Mish. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Labor Day weekend. We'll see you next Saturday for our next edition of Fantasy Sports Today. Mike Tomlin could have very easily put this to rest and say that, Russell Wilson is the starting quarterback.
Mike Tomlin's going to look at, hey, Russell Wilson led that clean drive. I think that separates him enough to give him the starting job. But I think you're right that the leash is going to be pretty short. And if Russell Wilson doesn't look good, Steelers fans pretty quickly are going to be calling for Justin Fields because of his scrambling ability.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The leftover language would be the million shy of what Jefferson makes Jefferson a better player. If you want to believe that, I'm not sure I buy that he's that much better than CeeDee Lamb.
Tony Pollard's gone. He's now with the Titans. I was with the Titans a couple weeks ago. He'll be their starting running back there. They're going a different direction in Dallas, but it's all about CeeDee Lamb right now, the first of the other deals that they have to get done.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
If the U.S. gets to a bad start and they're down or close, I may double down on the second quarter because I know that that's when Steve Kerr is going to want to either A, if it's close, open it up. If they're losing, you got to get the lead because you don't want teams like it was in South Sudan that believe that they can win.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Let's go. Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship. The golf has been mesmerizing. the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes!
Are you ready?
Let's go! That's what champions do.